Introduction to Physical Science. Chapter 1, Section 1, The Nature of Science. The first question you might ask is, what is science? Well, it's a method of studying the natural world. It's observing, studying, and experimenting to find the nature of things around us. The major categories of science include life science, like biology, and this deals with living things. Earth science, which investigates Earth and space, and physical science, which deals with matter and energy. That's the class that we're talking about today. What science isn't is astrology, your astrological science, the supernatural, like vampires and ghosts, and aliens. Any guesses why? We'll talk about it again at the end if you don't know. So some of the branches of science in the natural science world, we have our biological sciences, such as living things like botany, which is the study of plants, zoology, the study of animals, and ecology, the study of the environment. Physical sciences include matter and energy. We have physics and chemistry. That will be our focus this year in this course. And then finally, earth sciences study Earth. So geology, the study of the rocks, meteorology, the study of the atmosphere, oceanography, the study of the oceans, and astronomy, Earth's neighbors in space. What is physical science? It's a combination of chemistry and physics. Chemistry is the study of the structure and properties of matter, while physics is the study of matter and energy and how they interact. Earth science, like we said, studying how we build mountains. Why do volcanoes erupt? How do earthquakes occur? Geology has two parts, the study of the physical nature and the history of the Earth. So the physical nature would be more of the rocks and the minerals that make up the Earth's crust. The history of the Earth is relayed in the rock layers and the geologic timescale that tells us what happened to our Earth. Meteorology, the study of the Earth's atmosphere or weather. And finally, astronomy is the study of space. Oceanography is the study of oceans. We're not going to focus a lot of time on oceanography simply because we live so far away from the ocean, it's not pertinent to what we're doing. It's been a really long time since Missouri was covered in an ocean. Science and technology are related to each other. Pure science, for example, is the search for scientific knowledge. Technology is the application of that science. Examples include GPS, or Global Positioning System. In the 1950s, the U.S. Army decided that they needed a better method for identifying where to drop bombs and other things and where to drop people. The maps that they had were not proving to be very reliable. Since space technology was so new and satellites were very new, they decided to apply that pure science of satellites, and they put up the initial satellite system, which was 24 satellites that were evenly spaced around the Earth's surface. They were at a sweet spot in the atmosphere that was just far enough away they wouldn't float away, but just close enough that they wouldn't come crashing back down. Those GPS satellites could identify any point on the Earth within pretty good accuracy. They could give you a latitude and a longitude as long as you had two satellites, which at any point on the Earth, two satellites should reach you. The third satellite, most of the time you can have, would also tell you an elevation. Those Landsat phones that they use proved to be very useful in making their bomb drops and whatnot a little more accurate. 3D printers, somebody thought it was a good idea. Hey, what if we could print things in plastic or other polymer material? We've gone from printing toys with 3D printers to now we can print almost anything, all the way up to replacement organs for people. What's the difference between scientific law and theory? A scientific law describes a process in nature that can be tested and repeated, and everyone believes it to be true. It observes a pattern in nature, but doesn't try to explain it. It's usually considered fact, like the law of gravity. You're not going to find many people that want to argue with the law of gravity. A scientific theory, however, is the explanation of a natural process. It explains some sort of pattern in nature It backs up tested data, and it can also be easily changed with further investigation. Since many things that we study in science are either too big or too small or too complex to actually be studied in real life, we use models. Examples could be chemists using models to show water molecules, drawings on paper of real things, like your notes. Real objects can be used, like a spring to demonstrate waves, or a mental picture of something or a set of rules, like the electron cloud model. We also commonly use computer models like weather maps.